So when you're doing your speeches and you go into different settings, always give people context. Context always informs content. When you give a context, what does context mean? It's a point of reference. It's laying a foundation. Pastors call it a text, right?
Yes, sir.
Context. It always informs where you're going with the knowledge. It informs knowledge, content. Everybody say content. Context always informs content. So the context today is that we're here to save lives and what?
Salvage
dreams. So as you're being trained to be a junior associate, soon to be associate, and the only difference between a junior and associate is when you graduate. We want our associates to be college degree what? In hand.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm talking about almost there, one more credit. No, we need you to be done. Sign, seal, Steve wants to say sign, seal what?
Delivered.
Delivered, baby. Delivered. Walk across the stage on Saturday or Sunday with a place to go on Monday. Did everybody follow what I just said?
That's deep.
It's a travesty to have a degree. I'm getting caught up. It's a travesty to have a degree. Walk across the stage, shake the president's hand on Saturday or Sunday with nowhere to go on Monday.
Wow.
You just spent 4, 5, 6 years with nowhere to go. That's a wasted investment almost. That's like a vision you can't articulate. You may as well keep it to yourself. If you can't articulate it. That's why the Bible says do what with the vision?
Write the vision.
Yes, sir.
Because some point you may not be able to articulate it. But write it and do what with it? Make it plain. Context for today is saving lives, salvaging dreams. So I want you to embrace that context because we get casual with this. Do y'all understand? You look around the room at the brothers in the room. This is all I need, and I understand where I'm coming with this because I'm coming with you contextually. This is all I need to change the world. Right here in this room. Wow. Is that powerful? That's why I always wonder why we have 9 fraternities and sororities. They're all struggling in the early 1900s, trying to do the same thing, accomplish the same thing, but then we got different groups because everybody had to have a different color in the car. I don't know, something interesting about that. I don't play the frat stuff, although I am one. I told Terrence honestly the other day, there's some days I regret being one because I'm not proud of what we have done and what we're doing. We have enough frats and sororities to completely eliminate the issue with black males if we simply work together. But we can't do it. We will not do it because somebody has to get credit. We will not do it. And I tell my frat there, I tell every frat there, they don't invite me to speak anymore. Because I come up in there real. So you ain't got to invite me back because I'm going to tell you how I feel. Because we have a serious issue. Do y'all understand that the issues around black and brown boards is getting worse? So I want you to embrace that right now. That we're not just playing this thing and meeting whenever you meet for your side meetings on Thursdays and Tuesdays and whatever. This is serious. We can't afford to slip. We can't afford to be late. We can't afford to be slack. We can't afford to forget. We can't afford. Too much is at stake for us to afford to do that. If everybody feel where I'm coming from contextually, y'all feel what?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. This is not personal. This is real. We're going to do this work. To roll with me, you got to be real. That's why I invite certain people to the conference, and I'm spiritually driven, so I invite people based on my spirit. I don't care what your degree is. I don't care how many books you've written. If I don't feel you spiritually, you ain't speaking to the people. So as a pastor, you know, your father's taught you, you have to protect your flock. You can't let everybody get up in front of your people, God's people, and talk to them. And their spirit is not right. So you have to be careful who you allow at the pulpit. I'm careful who I allow to have the microphone, to have his ears at a very tender age. You have to be careful. This is serious business. And the context, and that's why I want to give you context, because context informs content, and it helps you form a perspective. Everybody say perspective.
Perspective.
Always keep a perspective. I tell Terrence that all the time. Always keep a perspective. Even when you think you're going through stuff, you ain't going through nothing, relatively speaking. Nothing. Your day is much easier than a day Dr. King would have walked. And in and out of jail. And you have to also understand prospectively that Dr. King was your age when he created a movement. He was your age. He was in college. He already had his doctorate and PhD at 25, at Terrence's age. And then think about the thing, because when we think of King, we think about King in a seasoned sense, that he's older. He wasn't. He was a college-age man. These were college students making that movement happen. And you guys are those ages. As you sit here now. But we quickly forget because we get caught up in our day-to-day and we forget. Do you know the average person, I mean, we have a short span, in terms of remembering things. If we didn't have the court case going on, you forget Michael Jackson died. You just don't remember that. How many times you thought about James Brown this week? These are legends, right? Yeah. Who will remember you when you gone? What would you have done for somebody to remember that Vince even exists? Derek even exists? What legacy will you leave? That's what you need to be striving to do. I even challenged Jerome on the plane coming back from Phoenix. I said, I want you to think of something you want to do before you leave this world. We're 50. I'll be 51 in March. Who will remember you and for what? Do you even care that you'll be remembered? Is another question. I want you to have a perspective, as Terrence and Tyree prepare. I want you all to have a perspective. Keep a perspective that sometimes we think we're busy and sometimes we think we're overwhelmed when we really haven't made compared to. There was a day when we were 7 and 8 years old that we couldn't go to school. We went to school out of fear that nothing would happen to us during the day because the KKK said those black students better not show up at these schools with these white kids. You better not get on that bus. Y'all remember Emmett Till? Emmett Till was a homeboy. Killed 30 minutes from us. That's what we grew up in. We could have easily been at Emmett Till. So our family protected us. We couldn't play in the front yard. They had to take us behind the house and duck us over in this corner and under this ditch and never here, go over here to cousin's house. That's what we grew up in. That's the context we grew up in. So you see what it shaped me to be passionate? To keep this stuff real? I make no excuses. I don't want my name associated with being late, and I don't want my name being associated, we talked about this other week, to nothingness. Some of us possess a spirit of nothingness. We ain't doing nothing. When you chilling with your girl, I'm working. Trying to save a people. When you at the party, I'm working. That's a Will Smith thing, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Will say you may be more talented, you may be a better singer, you may be faster than me, but you will not outwork me.